Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today, and we're zooming in and focusing in on a really important step or consciousness awareness when it comes to understanding the narcissist, the psychopath, the sociopath, the cluster B person who has become intimately involved and interwoven in your life, yet has turned the corner on your relationship, and all of a sudden you're starting to find that things aren't right, and you're trying to pay attention to your intuition, your gut feeling, and really know how to work through it, but yet part of you is also drawn inextricably to them. And this is the state known as cognitive dissonance. And before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated to the channel. We have a lovely viewer. I'm not sure where she's from, but she made a very generous donation to the channel, and I want to give my heartfelt thanks and gratitude. Thank you so much for your viewership. Love you. Thank you so much for your continued support, and it's an honor and privilege to be able to assist you in educating you, informing you, not only on this sort of individual, but also some tools, resources, and knowledge to effectively deal with these types of situations and relationships and get you some real results. So once again, thank you so much for your donation to the channel. It does inspire me to keep producing content. And before we get started, I also want to let you know that I've also received some emails from those people who have not been able to subscribe. For some reason, they want to subscribe and YouTube is not allowing them. That is not up to me. That is up to YouTube. So I would just say try again if you're not getting your subscription completed. There might be something in their back office that you can fix. So please do let them know. There's nothing I'm able to do in order to permit that subscription. It's up to YouTube and their search engine. So thank you so much for your inquiries on that. So I want to really dive in and focus in on really sort of the cognitive dissonance, or that feeling of self-doubt, and especially as it comes up against a cluster B persona. Once again, it is a mask, it's a persona. It's not their genuine feelings that you're falling in love with. It's a calculated mask. And that's the whole conundrum, that's the confusion, that is the gaslighting that is oftentimes set up. And oftentimes this begins with a very childlike charm when it comes to falling in love with them, or being charmed by them, being really sort of engulfed with this feel-good dopamine that is elicited upon the beginning of the relationship. And it's kind of like you feel like you're in a bliss state. This person is the answer to your prayers. They are giving you attention. They are seemingly putting you first, but yet you realize that they have a whole host of other things going on in their life that is a double persona, a malignant sort of endeavor where they're splitting or triangulating you. In other words, they are on their best behavior. And, they are additionally luring you into this best behavior, or maybe telling you things about them which are not accurate, which are not true, and they are aware of that they cannot back up. So that is the whole issue. I receive a lot of questions, do they know that they're doing this? Do they know that they're betraying me? Do they know? And the answer is unequivocally a resounding yes. Especially, in the spectrum of the psychopath, they're very well aware that they don't experience relationships or life, for that matter, in the exact same way, or really in the same way at all, as to the mass of humanity, the mass of other people, your civilization, basically having that heart connection, having that attachment, having, morality, having a sense of right or wrong, and then really obeying that. So the narcissist and the psychopath, because of their superior sense of self-importance, they feel like they're not subject to the rules at hand. The rules that govern most relationships or society or business. They feel that they're immune against. They feel like they're above the law. It's the Lindsay Lohans of the world who feel that they can just pay their way out of something, or, the law does not pertain to them. And this also equates to and rolls over and spills over into relationships with their most intimate others, their family, their spouses, such as fidelity, needing to be fidel or honest or loyal to a partner. They feel that does not apply to them. In other words, that because they decide so, because they determine it so, they can go and do as they please. In other words, then they think, well, the other person whom I have targeted, or who is my supply, this person who I'm grooming to be a target, they're so stupid that they are falling for this, that it is up to them. They should know better. So they really start putting all of the blame on the individual with whom they are falling in love with, or who they're grooming, who they're targeting, who they're betraying, who they're putting a mask to. In other words, and psychopaths will tell you this also in the professions of a psychopath. They'll tell you, and the narcissist as well, they don't really value their targets. They don't value their supply. They think, well, you're stupid enough to fall for this, or that is your weakness, for you to have a heart, for you to feel. So they really do begin to kind of look down, even though they need their targets, they need their supply, they need that validation from other people. And they really are very parasitic in that way, really as intraspecies predator, especially on the realm of the psychopath. It's getting very severe and very profound in terms of the depth of hurt with which they will inflict upon others. So the cognitive dissonance is when you begin to feel something is not right. Your gut is telling you one thing, but the reward that you're feeling like, I need this person. No one else is like this person. That is a great red flag, because the mindset begins to be, there's no one else like this person in the world. I have never met anyone else like this. No one else compares to this person. No one makes me feel this way. And yes, true love can feel this way, but when it's in the hands of a psychopath or a narcissist, they know that they are playing their supply. They know that they cannot back up their promise to them. In other words, they might promise a honeymoon, a marriage, a house, getting furniture together, raising children together, getting a pet together, all these other sort of promises, which they have no intent on backing up, because they are very irresponsible when it comes to these things, and they feel no remorse or no guilt for not following through. They just don't feel it. And the narcissist as well, I am so good, I can just get another. They really kind of view others as disposable, as replaceable. So don't fall for the childlike innocence, the game, the show. I mean, it's literally not the person who you think they are underneath. And you need to see it for what it is, and begin to see it as an act, a facade or a mask. And then you won't feel so hurt at the loss of the relationship, because if you realize that it's kind of like in The Wizard of Oz, if you've ever watched that movie, what is it, the Wicked Witch, the one who's all green, who then dissolves in water. I mean, realize that, once you realize that this relationship that you were in was all a mask or a facade and just designed to fool you and delude you, that once you realize that and you are paying attention to your gut and you're now seeing it for what it is, making a decision, okay, I'm bold enough now, I have the courage to see it for what it is, and then be able to see that person is, not only it's not positive, that this person isn't like anyone else in the world. It's not positive that you've over-idealized them. It's actually becoming an issue for you. And seeing it for what it is, you can then call it out, and then it's no longer having power over you. That person who maybe once the feelings that they elicited you were addicted to and not empowered by. In other words, it was not your own. It was not love-based, positive-based, unconditional-based. It was condition-based. It was designed for you to be there for a specific amount of time or for a specific event or whatever it is. The role that they played was, you know, short-lived, and you can basically shelve that relationship. But realize it's kind of like pour water over it and dissolve it and realize that they don't have power over you, that it was just a mask, a facade, like a Broadway hit that was coming to town and is now gone. You know, you no longer need to replay that over and over in your mind. Basically dissolve it and disempower it and realize it for what it is. And then you will resume to a state of homeostasis, balance, and cognitive congruence within you, which means you're owning your truth and it's on a foundation of positivity, and you can now pay attention to your gut and follow that. Some people call it your guide, your sixth sense, your higher power, your higher nature, you know, that humbleness, you know, whatever it is you want to call that, but call it you must. And begin to call upon this and feel a state of relief that you're seeing things through clarity, and it will no longer have that empowerment over you, but instead you will be empowered yourself. And furthermore, once you're empowered, you're able to see these types of individuals and kind of call it for what it is and not be repeatedly inflicted the same sort of emotional manipulation, abuse, and be hoovered in by future types of individuals who are similar in this cluster B category. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I really hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.